We had what would be considered a pretty severe drought for the Philippines. Ended about a month ago. Lost a few plants, and a lot more are going to take a long time to bounce back. But they're bouncing back pretty quick, so I figured we'd do an update. We've basically finished the interior of the house finally, and now we're going to focus on finishing the exterior again. I'll go over some things I've gone over before, so if you've heard this before, just fast forward. But this is a cerisa tree, and it produces a fruit that tastes like if you were to make if Captain Crunch berries were based on a berry, these fruit taste kind of like a Captain Crunch berry. Really nice to have around, considered to be a children's fruit. So for some reason, and adults don't seem to like this tree, but I love them, so I'm going to keep them around. We just about lost this wapuhi, which is shampoo ginger here. All of the stalks had fallen off. The roots had retreated into the ground, and I was worried we might not recover, but you can see it's already grown back a lot. And I think maybe in the next month or so, I'll actually start getting some of the flowers that you get the shampoo from. And this is another form of ginger, and these little nodules, it's called lipstick ginger. These little nodules are kind of sweet. They're produced every day. They're nice to snack on. It's fun to have around. It's an attractive decorative in addition to being tasty. This one doesn't have any fruit right now, but that's a mulberry, and it produces fruit pretty regular. All the trees that they just got growing in pots on the front balcony here are doing well, especially the pomegranate. The pomegranate's doing really good and producing pretty much year-round regardless of the weather conditions. And this is a hard seed variety. We have another, oh, yeah, that one's come off. So, nice little pomegranates. We have another variety up on the terraces that has soft seeds, but it'll be a few years before it has fruit. One thing here is you can see the birds have decided it's safe here, even though we're in and out of this area all day, and they have built these nests all through here. And so when we're not on the front porch, and they're not out here right now when we're out here, but when we're not on the front porch, you're sitting inside with the windows open, you can hear them out here or watch them. We have reflective windows. This is our magic berry bush. Should be producing soon. This one, like I said, I've mentioned it before, but for folks who haven't seen this before, this produces a fruit, and what it does is the fruit, for about half an hour, changes anything that's sour to sweet. So, for instance, if you eat lime, it tastes like sweet lime, and if you drink vinegar, it tastes almost like a honey. And the practical purpose that it has is for cancer patients who are going through chemotherapy, who sometimes they lose their ability to taste and enjoy food, and so they won't eat enough to fight off the cancer. And for some people, not all, this works so they can enjoy their food again and keep their strength up. You see here, this one's got some berries coming in. Yeah, some flowers coming out there right now. This is kaffir lime, which is used in Thai dishes like tom yum. The leaves are really fragrant. You don't actually use the fruit. They're not remarkable, but the leaves are really nice. If you haven't seen stevia before, this is what the stevia leaves look like. You eat them right off the plant here, and they're very sweet. But they have an aftertaste that I'm not fond of. So there's another one that most people who even know stevia don't know about, and it's called Sweet Aztec. And this is also very sweet without an aftertaste, but it almost tastes like it's a little bit spicy, which some people don't care for, but I really enjoy. The side yard, if you want to call it that, is doing very well. This is actually the right of way. It's not our property, but nobody's going to build a road up here, so we kind of use it to expansion to grow plants. This is the 1,000-finger banana, and it's only part way open. And as new pieces open, it grows down and expands out, and more leaves fall off. And I think that might actually reach all the way to the ground when it's fully developed. We'll see. It's still in the stage of opening, but you can see how far it's gone from that, what they call the heart, which is up at the top there, and just keeps expanding right on down. The jalapenos got from a friend here, and they're doing very well. This is Chinoto orange, and we've had that for a couple of years, and it hadn't ever done anything, and it finally had a flower the other day, and now we have our very first Chinoto orange coming in. So hopefully that'll make it to maturity. Quite often with fruit trees, the first year that it produces fruit, the fruit doesn't make it or isn't extremely appetizing. So the first year you just kind of, it's like a good sign that the next years will be better. We just harvested the ice cream banana the other day, also known as blue java, because the exterior of the bananas are kind of bluish in color, and the bananas themselves are very, very sweet and silky and have a hint of almond. So this is coming together. Our coconut trees are finally coming in, and they've got fruit. We planted those from seed, I think 4 or 5 years ago now. But this is limestone, so the roots had to establish themselves before they'd grow, and so they took a little bit longer to grow than they normally would on terrain that would be easier for them. Here, our local grapefruit called pomelo. This is a sweet pomelo, is having its first fruit. But this one, unlike, I know I just said the first year it has fruit, it doesn't really do so great. This one, I don't know, this one might actually be pretty good. We'll find out. Getting some more ornamentals, and these are bulbs like direct sunlight. Growing similar to like a tulip would grow, but obviously not a tulip. Our ylang tree here is just incredible. This tree has been used for hundreds of years or longer. It's not documented. They extract the essence from the flowers, and it's been used to make perfumes in Europe and such. And this tree is very fragrant, and it's uphill. It goes through the windows of the house, and the fragrance comes out at night. And so at night it smells like the aroma from the flowers throughout the house and the yard. It actually carries about 50 yards. Now the interior of the house is done, we're gonna get started on restoring this again. And it's perfect timing to do that, because we can get different ornamentals that are low light, high moisture from the local festival going on right now in town, which they have a lot of plant vendors and such, and highlight different, well, one of the highlights of the festivals is plants. Here are Lanzoni trees are mature. I think these actually would have had fruit for the first time this year, but that drought really was brutal on them. And so they had lost most of their leaves, and now they've bounced back. So I'm hopeful that next year that will go very well. This is a plant called saliote, and the leaves are used like a vegetable in different dishes. I don't care for it. Most people do. When you cook these leaves, it's really slimy like okra. Just not my thing. Also, not a fan of okra, but most other people are. You can see our passion fruit vines have developed very well on this trellis. We had two varieties on here. We have one that's the giant passion fruit, which is sometimes almost the size of a volleyball, and really nice to eat and make juices from. And then we have the regular variety, and this one is the variety that's kind of purple on the exterior, not the yellow one. You can see it's flowering right now, so we've got fruit coming in soon. And these flowers smell kind of like a spicy allspice. kind of aroma. Pretty nice. Yeah. Denver here, he's cleaning up the New Guinea creeper vine. That is a really nice vine when it's in bloom. It's incredible, the amount of flowers. They're very red, brilliant flowers, and hopefully we'll get maybe a blooming soon. Usually blooms 2 or 3 times a year. Here we have our local lime tree called calamansi, and as you can see, we've got lots and lots of fruit on it. That's pretty much year round as well. This is in the insulin family. Not the one they use for making medicine, but I like it because these flowers come out daily, and these flowers are really nice to use. You can use them in garnish, you can put them in salads. They're kind of a sweet but tart taste, very pleasant to eat. You just pop the whole thing in your mouth, don't nibble on it. It's nice, kind of like, and the tip of it is kind of similar to honeysuckle, where all the sweetness just kind of goes down into the tip of it. You see one of the coconuts here, the first fruit coming in on it finally. We've got 5 coconut trees of different varieties. We moved the fig tree over here, and it's happy here. It's finally growing. It was about 1.5 feet tall for over a year, and it was producing fruit, but it never grew any taller. And we put it in the ground here, and it seems to be happy because it's grown almost 3 times its length in the last 6 months. A lot of ornamentals going on. Do a video in a couple months when those really start to pop and have more flowers. This is a hibiscus. It'll turn into a bush, but it's called a weeping hibiscus. They never fully open. They stay partially open like that and pointed downward. But when it gets a little more mature and has more branches, it'll just be covered in these red flowers. This is black sapote, which was very difficult to find. And I've had it in the ground a couple of years now. It's very happy, very vibrant, and the fruit from this, it's in the persimmon family. The fruit from this, the inside, it has the texture and color of chocolate pudding. It doesn't taste like chocolate pudding. It's a pleasant, semi-sweet flavor with a nice texture, but it's a very fun one to have around and nice to eat. This is one of many types of guava we have, which are very large. Some of the guavas have a lot of seeds, which I'm not really liking, but a lot of people do. These don't. I like it better. And got a bunch of these rebounding. These had retreated into the ground down to the bulb during the dryness and the heat, and now they're finally coming back. And these leaves will get pretty large. This is an abu tree, which is actually native to Brazil. And it's more like a yellow star apple. And so when you eat it, when you open it up, the fruit is similar in taste and texture to like a citrusy jello. So you just kind of cut the fruit in half and get a spoon and scoop it out. Very nice flavor. This is Malaysian jade, and it is a variety of rambutan, but it's about 3 times the size of the normal rambutan and sweeter. And it is also having its first fruit, but it's not mature enough. They'll go a little ways and develop, and they'll fall off. It's just, this one isn't quite ready for prime time, even though it thinks it is. But it's encouraging because I know that it's happy here, and I know in the future that'll work out well. This is aviark. It's the sweetest jackfruit in the world. In fact, the sugar content, the natural sugar content is so high, they'll press it and reduce it down and make sugar out of it. In some places, I've never actually had aviark sugar, but I just want to try one. I haven't actually eaten one. They're very hard to find here, but they're in demand. So all of the producers of these have contracts overseas, and they get top dollar. But the guys who buy the crops, they buy it all sight unseen, and the growers have to give every single piece, whether it's good or bad or not. They're not allowed to give any away or sell any. It's all spoken for. So it's very hard to get your hands on it. It's an interesting ornamental we picked up the other day. Now this is my Chinese durian, and it flowered for the first time this year also. It's been a big year for first time flowerings, but because of the dryness and everything, all of the flowers dropped off before it could produce fruit, and we're just left with these stubs. So again, encouraged that next year it'll fully develop. The plan here is these dragon fruit will eventually fill in. We've got 5 different varieties, and it'll be kind of like a dragon fruit waterfall cascading over this wall. So when you reach the top of the stairs over here, coming to the house, you'll look up this way and just see a wall of dragon fruit cascading down the wall. It's an ornamental tree. We're waiting for that one to come in and get a little bigger, but you can see it's starting to try and produce flowers. This is from a friend up in the upper valley. And we've seriously cut back the Camonsil here. English name is monkey pod. And it produced a lot of fruit this year, but we had to trim it back because it was really obstructing the view from the upper terrace, which you'll see in a minute. This palm is an acai palm, A-C-A-I. They're power berries. If you buy them in the States or Europe, anything made with that or the juice made from that is very expensive. So it'll be quite a few years probably before that is ready to bear fruit, but when it does, it'll be fun. And this is torch ginger, this pink torch ginger. And before the drought, this was really vibrant and going, and we had our first flowers, and the drought hit and the flowers died off. So, but it's bouncing back real good. And you can see the new shoots are coming up. So I think in another month or two, I'll be back to where we have flowers again. For those who aren't familiar with it, this is lemongrass, and we use quite a bit of it in cooking. This tree is a nonus, and it is in the same family as the sugar apple or custard apple, which is locally known as atis, except this is the actual native one where the atis is not, and the fruit, when it's fully developed, is kind of pink. And so this produces fruit year-round. Got some more coming in now. It's nice to have around. It's nice to have the native one because you can't buy this at market anymore. Nobody grows it. Here this area is barren right now because last week we removed our neem tree for a couple reasons. One, it doesn't produce fruit, and the other being it was obstructing the view. So we planted this sempodoc here and some papaya, and the grass will grow in here just like it has in other areas around the property, but it'll take a little bit of time, and this will all be real nice again. There's a little portal to the side of the yard here. Let's see, we kind of just, this isn't actually our property, but we go ahead and plant things on it. We don't put any permanent structures. You can see the little walking path we were on earlier going through there. But one thing we have done is we've taken on this wall on the exterior, put these posts and some wires, and we have a whole bunch of passion fruit coming in on that side. So using the fence as a trellis, really easy. So instead of the temporary trellises, when a wire gives out, we just put a new piece of wire on, Then down this way, up that way we had passion fruit, and down this way we have what's called winged bean, which is a really nice type of bean to have in different native dishes. So you can see we took the limestone when we were digging out the old trees up here and building the terraces. We saved all of the pieces of limestone we dug out, and we've used it as borders along the edge of this terrace and the others. Another variety of banana we have all over the property that I didn't mention. There was some down below also, but this is called bungulan, and it's a very nice sweet banana to eat, but when it's ripe the exterior is still green, and you have to check for ripeness by the how soft it is when you squeeze it. And this is Malaysian jackfruit, which we planted about a year and a half ago. It's doing very well. It'll be a couple of years before that one's ready for prime time, but the inside of it is more of an orange color, and it has a different taste, a very nice taste than some of the local jackfruits, and quite different obviously than the aviark I mentioned earlier. These are blackberry jamberry, and I bought these a couple of years ago, and they didn't do anything, and I planted them up here on the terrace, and it's been over a year, and I was just about ready to give up on them, and they finally started flowering this week. It not only was I was surprised by how fragrant the flower is and how pleasant it is, but this fruit will be small, about the size of a large marble. The exterior will be yellow, and inside it'll have the same taste, texture, and color as blackberry jam that you would get from a jar, already processed, but natural, of course. This is our bolete tree. The bolete tree is the spiritual tree of the Philippines. They're said to host both good and bad, and well, good, bad, and indifferent spirits. And when you approach the tree, you're supposed to say tabipo, which, may I please pass, basically. And here's the other pomegranate I mentioned. This one, will probably be another year or two before we start getting fruit, but this one's supposed to have soft seeds as opposed to the one down on the terrace, which is the hard seed. Another papaya. Now this is Musang King, and it is the most sought after, most expensive form of durian in the world. Another one, I've never actually tried one. I hope maybe I'll be able to this year, but we got this tree last year and planted it, and so in a couple of years hopefully I'll have my own. Now I'll take a shortcut here. So these flowers, again, another thing recovering from the drought, but these flowers, you can see they hang down on these tendrils around the tree, and when they're in full bloom, this tree will literally be covered in blue flowers, and the blue flowers only last a day and they drop off. So each morning when it's fully developed, when you come up here, there'll be a ring of blue flowers around the tree. It's pretty cool. These are date palms. We got them partially for decoration. I would like them to bear fruit, but the thing about date palms, you have to have one male and one female, and we don't know at this time what we have. So we don't know if these are going to end up being only decorative, or if in the future we'll actually have dates. I would like to have dates. This is a native tree that's in the same family as bugnai, but it's called inyam, and the berries are somewhat smaller. It's similar in taste to a black currant, and right now it's just developing. These berries will turn to this reddish color and get even a little bit darker than that red, and then there's kind of sweet tart, and you can see there's a lot of them. This is a rare one to find. You can't get those at market, and I don't actually personally know of anybody else in country that has an inyam tree. I should probably propagate that this year. Here's another aromatic. This is a Dama di Noche, and like almost all the aromatics here, the aromas come out at night and they travel a long ways. So we focus a lot on not only the fruits but aromatics here too. So when you come up here, it's just pleasant to be around and nice smells. This banana variety is called Tendock. I don't have any with bananas right now, right in between harvests, but this has giant bananas, and each single banana is over 2 pounds in weight, and almost, 1.5 foot, 2 feet long, each banana, not the whole bunch, but each individual banana. And if you let them ripen, they get somewhat sweet, and they're nice to eat. This is another Sempodoc from seed. So we went up to Makilala, another city up in the foothills here, last April, and tried this, which is now my favorite Philippine fruit. And I brought the seeds back, and so that's from seed from last April, which is pretty impressive, really. The exterior of this one is like a jackfruit, but the inside is, the fruit's shaped more like what's called a marang, but the aroma and the flavor are more like a bubble gum. It was really nice, pleasant fruit to eat. This is Limoncita, which is a rare, expensive, sought-after bush that produces these berries, and I don't like the berries, so we have it. It's nice to have, and we share out to whoever wants them, but not my thing. But it's nice to have around. This is ice cream bean. So in time, this will produce beans, sometimes up to 1 foot long. And the inside, the texture is like a cotton candy, but they say the flavor is like ice cream. And this is another one that I've never actually had, so we'll find out in due time. This is our baby Jaboticaba, which is a grape tree, and the grapes, they're kind of like grapes, they grow on the trunk of the tree, but this is going to take a long time to grow. I'm figuring minimum 5 years maybe before we start getting any fruit. I hope I'm wrong, it'll be earlier, but I don't know, it seems to grow really slow. And these are my peanut butter berry trees. This is a really fun one. They really took off last year for the first time. And these fruit, they turn red. And when they turn red, they have the exact same color, or taste and texture as processed creamy peanut butter from a jar. As you can see, this thing is just going in. It is one that really rebounded after the drought, and it's just, I don't know, there's got to be thousands of pieces of fruit developing right now. So next month we're going to have a bumper crop on that, which will be fun. So here on the pavilion, which is basically done except the electricity, which we'll probably do next month. A couple months ago we put in, it's called Millionaire Vine, and it creates this natural veil which will thicken as the vines mature, and it'll not only keep the temperature down, but it's a nice aesthetic, almost like a curtain you walk through to get into the pavilion. This is Indian slipper vine, which is really hard to find, and it was fortunate that a friend slash relative here was able to get me a cutting a while back, and it will eventually populate this trellis. And the flowers will just be, if you're interested in what Indian slipper vine looks like, there are some interesting videos on YouTube. So the goal is to have this whole trellis populated with its flowers. That one's not an aromatic, it's just for looks. So, really enjoying the pavilion, to come up here and hang out and just lay in the hammocks. And as you can see, now we've cleared out those trees, and we have a pretty commanding view. Come around pictures. So now, it's clouded in right now, but if it weren't, the volcano would be right there. You'd have a really nice view of it. And you can see the whole valley now. It's pretty nice up here. If there's anything resembling a breeze, we're well above the tree line, and we get it. So I'll do another update in a couple months, and hopefully things will grow a lot.